Hey guys, and welcome back to another flashlight review. A lot of people have been talking about this flashlight online in forums and just on Facebook, so wanted to do a review, let you know what my thoughts are on this, so make sure you hang around if you're interested in a tactical style light or an EDC. So this one reminds me a lot of the Wubin C3 or the Spiraz EST. Really like how small and easy it is to carry around. You can just see how small it is, just fits in the palm of your hand. And there was some controversy around this light initially when the designs were shared on Facebook. Some people thought that the TD02 shared similarities with Weltool and the Olight designs. Having a closer look myself, you can see some influences on the head, maybe the knurling here, but that's about where these similarities end. There's such different flashlights, and I'm going to show you what they look like with my other ones as well. So here are some similar size flashlights, even in functionality, to the TD02, and you can see it's probably closer to the size of a Convoy S2, just a little bit longer, but Workhorse FC12, that's probably one that a lot of people are going to be comparing the TD2 with, and yeah, quite similar sort of diameters, but the FC12 with that reflector in there, obviously you've got some extra room, extra length there, and of course the Wubin LD50, which is pretty much the same size, slightly larger than the Workhorse FC12. Here we have a closer up of the TD02, and quite impressive construction, machining, considering its lower price range as well. The threads are square cut and smooth, so you can actually undo the head as well as the tail cap, which is great. Wubin make it very easy to modify and get into these lights and modify them if you want. The body's machined quite nicely. There's no imperfections, and the anodizing, I'm quite used to Wubin using a kind of more glossy anodizing, but on the TD02, it actually looks a bit more matte black and, dare I say, even grippier. Tail cap here is recessed, so it will tail stand, and you've got a single switch that you operate a flashlight with, that tail switch there. It's interesting that Wubin has opted for the SST40 instead of the SFT40 that you see in the Workhorse FC12, but the SST40 does produce more light. See here, it just sits behind that TIR lens optic at the back. I gave the lens a little poke, and it is made of plastic, so there is no glass protector on the front. Standard with a lot of TIR flashlights. Knurling is very grippy, especially when combined with this grippier anodizing. Simple kind of bezel, smooth. Can't unscrew it. And the lens as well, slightly recessed into the head. Does come with an 18650 button top cell. Pretty much everything that you need. You get a USB Type-C charging cable as well. Instructions. Also get a lanyard with the light, as standard with Wubin. It's a great little light, especially if you're just starting out in flashlights and you don't know what to get. There's often different battery types, different charges, all that kind of thing. With the TD02, you pretty much get everything included. So let's go through the UI. So it's basically one switch on the end. Switch on and half press to cycle between the different modes. So there's 5 modes, okay? And if you double tap, you have strobe. Okay, so you just basically half press to go through. The great thing is that it also memorizes the last mode. So when I say semi-tactical, if you go all the way to that highest mode there, 100%, and let it rest for about a second, it will reactivate. And I really wish some of my other lights had this same UI, just being able to memorize that turbo mode with 1 second. Really makes a big difference. I don't like lights that have a 3-second memory mode. You're just waiting too long. If you want to reactivate that turbo again, you have to sit there, wait 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing. So I do like the UI on this. It's not exactly tactical because there's no kind of half press momentary mode on there, but really you got the next best thing with being able to activate turbo quickly with a full press. So I ran a couple of ceiling bounce tests, and this is the first one on turbo. You can see the TD02 starts off at 100%, holds for about a minute and a half, then drops around to 80%, holds that until 3 minutes, and drops to 30% at the 4-minute mark. And what I noticed interesting as well, sort of let it run for up until the 6 to 8 minute mark, and it actually went up a little bit again, went up, and then it went back down, and reactivated turbo again at around 11 minutes, went up and just straight down again. But it is good to know that you get some sustained output on turbo when the light first switches on. So here is another ceiling bounce test that I ran, and this was on the 4th level. So there's 5 levels. This was basically the second highest mode. Holds turbo, holds that level 4 mode up until 5 minutes, which point it ramps down to about just over 60% of its output and continues on. There's a weird little kind of dip where it just goes down and then goes up. The regulation was a bit strange there, but it basically holds around that 60% mark till the end of the test, which was around 23 minutes. I also ran a bunch of tests on my Opal Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here on the Workhorse included Workhorse cell, I got 263 meters of throw on switch on. And I actually chucked in a Samsung 30Q as well, and I got a little bit more throw out of it, 283 meters of throw. Color rendering index was between 66 and 67, so pretty low, but a usual kind of reading for SST40. CCT was between 5,900 and 6,000 K, so more on the cooler white. Beam has a really nice pure white color on higher modes. It's reasonably floody as well, especially with this TIR lens, and has some good throw considering the size of the lens. I mean, 200 plus meters I think is pretty impressive for a little flashlight that can fit in your pocket. So some considerations, I really would have liked to see an SFT40 in there for increased range. I'm sure some people are going to mod that, take out their SST40 and swap it in there. There's no momentary turbo mode as well. So I did mention this before, but yeah, the 1 second memory mode is decent enough if you want to access turbo pretty quickly. I'll take this more as a general EDC / tactical style light, but I would have liked to see a momentary mode in there, just like with the FC12. Just for the sake of it, I chucked on the Workhorse FC12 tail cap, and it does work. The momentary mode does work in there, but of course, yeah, you still got that 1 second wait for it to memorize that turbo, but yeah, you can access the momentary turbo with the FC12 tail cap. Another thing that I noticed is that there is a very, very slight pause from when you press the switch and the light turns on. Kind of reminds me a bit of the Sofone SC32. Very slight pause. It's almost imperceptible. It's not a big deal, but something to keep in mind. And of course, the plastic lens that I mentioned before as well. The TD02 is a really well-built flashlight. I think it performs quite well considering its size, and it's affordable too. So it's definitely not a proper tactical flashlight. I wouldn't call it that, but it certainly comes close. Yeah, like I said, I consider it more of a tactical style EDC, and for a beginner, you pretty much get everything you need in the box along with a simple UI. I don't like those complicated UIs on lights like this, especially Anduril. I'd recommend this light if you're looking for a great all-rounder EDC that's not going to break the bank. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll get back to you. And do me a favor and like the video, because that helps me get it out to more people. And if you want to see me make more review videos, make sure you subscribe. I've got the Workhorse TD02. That's the highest mode. Really good amount of spill. This reminds me of the Sofone SC18. The beam, it's almost identical, really. Go through the different modes. There's 5 steps. Second step. Yeah, second step's quite decent actually. Third step. Fourth step. The fourth step, you're going to get some better sustained output, a bit more realistic. The fifth here. The great thing is that it holds that mode in memory, so I can switch off the light, switch it back on again within, I just give it a second, and it holds that 100% mode. So that's why I call this a semi-tactical flashlight. A lot of these EDC lights, you switch them off and they either go back to the moonlight mode when you switch it back on, or it takes 3 seconds to remember the last mode that you had the light in, and that's too long if you want to reactivate that turbo. See, I'm trying to do it pretty quick now just to show you. Okay, but if I do it too quick, oh, see, that is still holding. Okay, there you go. So it's like almost, if you're half a second, you're gonna have some trouble. It's gonna just switch modes. Okay. But at this sort of speed, look at that. Yep, I like that UI. Would have really annoyed me if that memory mode was 3 seconds and I'd have to wait too long to activate it again. So this, I think this could potentially make a good self-defense light as well. Okay, an affordable one. A nice little EDC too. One thing I didn't like about the SC18, which has pretty much the same beam as this one, is that the SC18 had a side switch that was very easily pressed. Put in your pocket and the thing just activates, and I got to unscrew it. And so this one, TD02, switch on the back, easy. Look at that. Yeah, quite impressed with it. Workhos do great deals in their lights. Those of you who are thinking of getting the FC12, the Workhos FC12, also should consider that one if you want more tactical, proper tactical functionality. Workhos TD02.